A Russian accused of arms dealing worldwide has pleaded not guilty to terrorism charges in a U.S. federal court. Viktor Bout made his formal plea in a New York court just one day after being extradited from Thailand to the U.S. VOA correspondent Peter Fedynsky reports.
Inside U.S. federal court in New York, defense attorney Sabrina Shroff entered a not guilty plea on behalf of Viktor Bout. Judge Shira Schindlin reminded the defendant of his right to remain silent. U.S. Attorney Preet Bharara presented a 19-page indictment that alleges Bout assembled a fleet of cargo planes capable of transporting weapons to Africa, South America, and the Middle East. Bharara says Bout's alleged partner, Andrew Smullyan, pleaded guilty to similar charges, naming the defendant as a co-conspirator.
Bout and Smullyan stood to collect millions of dollars on the FARC arms deal, and they both allegedly jumped at the chance to arm the FARC for its terrorist fight against the United States.
Bout arrived in New York on a private jet late Tuesday, following extradition from Thailand. He was arrested there in March 2008 in a sting operation led by U.S. agents. He had evaded U.S. and UN sanctions for years and was the inspiration for the Hollywood movie Lord of War. He says he was an honest businessman. Russia supports Bout's claims and waged an unsuccessful legal battle with the United States to gain his release from Thailand. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, on tour in Africa, noted on Tuesday that Bout has not been found guilty.
I consider this a display of unprecedented political pressure on court procedure and on the government of Thailand. And this whole story is an example of an outrageous injustice. We, as a state, will continue to provide all necessary assistance to Viktor Bout as a Russian citizen.
Prosecutor Preet Bharara declined to comment on Russia's position, but noted the U.S. Attorney's Office would continue to protect U.S. interests wherever they are threatened.
No one is beyond the reach of the law. No one should doubt the international commitment to justice, and no one should ever think that he can plot to kill Americans with impunity.
If convicted, Bout faces 25 years to life in an American prison. Peter Fedynsky, VOA News, New York.
Well, and with us now is VOA's Paul Ndiho, who happened to have met Viktor Bout while on assignment, reporting assignment in the DRC Congo. Now, just share with us, how did you come upon this guy?
Thanks, Vincent. And first of all, let me say that I'm not in any way connected to Viktor Bout, but I happened to be on assignment in 1998 in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and I flew on the same plane with Mr. Viktor Bout. I didn't know until we landed, and the guy, everybody was talking about the guy who turned out to be Viktor Bout as the efficient mailman, the guy who delivers anything.
Whatever
anywhere,
you ask
anytime.
him to deliver, he delivers.
Absolutely, and that was the joke at the time, but if I'd known what I know now, maybe I would have done something different, or maybe I would have done a story about the guy.
But you see, the way the country at that time was operating, it looked like it was kind of a free-for-all kind of a terrain where people would come in and do that kind of a business. Did it look like that to you?
Not really. I think he had clearance from the highest levels of government. I mean Uganda, because the arms that were shipped came through Uganda. So we left from Entebbe, then landed in Badolite. Badolite used to be the strongest hold for the then rebel leader Jean-Pierre Bemba. So he controlled that part, and so the arms that were going to that region were probably his arms, because he was there at the airport to receive those arms when we arrived in Badolite.
Yeah, amazingly, this guy doesn't seem to be that old. So how old was he at the time?
I can guess maybe he was in early 30s. He had already been to Africa so many times. He started out in Angola, then Liberia, then Congo. And he was used by both African governments, rebel groups in Africa, and all these other multinational corporations, like even the United Nations used him at some point.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing. And do you think many people knew what he was doing?
No. He was definitely, I would describe him as a guy who was very quiet, very shy, but very astute. Astute, I mean business-wise, business savvy.
Wow.
Most of the time, for the few minutes I interacted with him, he was talking on the phone and drinking. So I had an opportunity to drink with the guy.
What a guy. Thank God you didn't do much more with him. And that's Paul Ndiho of the Voice of America, who happened to have met Mr. Viktor Bout.
Thanks, Vincent and Miyake.
You're welcome.